Good afternoon again and welcome. Over the last few weeks we've been talking about the practice of meditation in the Buddhist tradition, and in the last 2 weeks in particular we've been talking about mindfulness, presence, gradually becoming aware of what happens in us and to us as and when it happens. And we've said that the purpose of this is simply to become more aware so that we know what is happening to us, how we feel, what's really going on in our mind, so that we're in a better position to make intelligent judgments about how to behave. And we have emphasized very strongly that mindfulness is about detached watching, being a detached onlooker. And indeed, that is what it is about, to allow there to be a space between our experience of something and then reacting to it. And as that space expands, it gives us the possibility of making a choice, deciding whether we're going to react or not, and if we're going to react, how. So when we're talking about detachment, we tend to think of this in terms of equanimity, or perhaps even indifference, or disengagement. And there is an element of truth in that too. However, it is possible that we can become detached in a way that is not skillful or not helpful to us. It is possible that we could develop what you might call a clinical detachment. They use this term clinical detachment because the scientist or the doctor or the nurse tries to develop this type of detachment. They're working in the hospital all day with people perhaps with horrible diseases or terrible injuries, and if they reacted emotionally each time this happened, very soon they would become exhausted. They wouldn't be able to do their job. So they deliberately cultivate a clinical detachment. They objectify the patient. Now, we don't want to develop that type of detachment. We want to develop what I will call a warm detachment. At first this may appear to be paradoxical, but indeed it is possible. And so today we're going to talk about another type of meditation that we can do together with mindfulness of breathing, so that we develop not a clinical detachment, but a warm detachment. We've said before that the Buddha talks about many different types of meditation, and one of the meditations he talks about is called Metta Bhavana. Metta Bhavana. We said before that Bhavana means mental development, or if you like, meditation. And metta comes from the Pali word mitta, a friend, or mittata, friendliness. So we can call metta warm concern, loving interest, or more commonly translated as loving kindness. The development of loving kindness. And the purpose of this meditation is to balance detachment. The purpose of this meditation is to engage the emotions in the process of meditation, in the process of spiritual development. Wisdom and compassion. The head and the heart. The knowing quality of the mind, the feeling quality of the mind. We know that meditation, we know that emotional involvement can often be very problematic. Strong attachment, strong love, strong hate, this can be very distorting for consciousness. But we also know that emotions can uplift, they can inspire, they can motivate us. So why shouldn't we harness the power of the emotions, particularly the positive emotions, in the spiritual quest? And that is the purpose of Metta Bhavana. How do you do this meditation? How do we Metta Bhavana? How do we develop loving kindness? Let us say you're doing your ordinary practice. You're sitting down in a comfortable posture, putting your hands in your lap or on your knees, relaxing your body, and just focusing your attention on the breath, being aware of the in-breath, aware of the out-breath. Let's say you're doing this for half an hour a day. In time, and now you've been doing for about 4 weeks, in time, it is bound to happen that there will be periods when you do feel quite detached. You're aware of the breath, but effortlessly. You might even be aware of thoughts arising and passing away, but not getting involved in them. Maybe this only happens for a short period of time, or maybe for extended period, a minute, half a minute, 2 minutes. But it will happen soon. And it may be that when this happens, you feel a deep but subtle joy. In the beginning, it might be almost like a sense of relief that the mind has become quiet, a sense of achievement. Or it may be that you're doing this meditation and then for a few moments, quite unexpectedly, joy descends, sometimes quite strong joy. It often happens that the first time this occurs to you, it is often spoiled because we think, goodness, what's that? This must be it. I'm at the portals of enlightenment. And those interrupting thoughts can spoil it, they can make it dissipate. But if you are doing a regular practice, keeping the body relaxed, not being too concerned about results, this is bound to happen. A deep, still, subtle joy, or sometimes quite a strong joy. It might be for a few moments, it might be for a few minutes, perhaps even longer. If this happens, this is what I would like you to do. If and when this happens, this is what I'd like you to do. When you notice that there is a subtle joy, or this perhaps more intense joy, remove your attention from your breath. Focus your attention on the center of your chest, your solar plexus. Focus your attention on the solar plexus. And then what I'd like you to do is deliberately and consciously think of yourself. And then quietly, in your mind, say these words to yourself. May I be well and happy. May I be peaceful and calm. May I be protected from dangers. May I achieve my aspirations. May my mind be freed from hatred. May my heart be filled with love. May I be well and happy. Just repeat those words silently to yourself. Repeat those aspirations. Repeat that benediction to yourself. Then, with your attention continuing to be focused on the center of your chest, think of one person you really love. One person whose presence you cherish. And do the same thing. May they be well and happy. May they be peaceful and calm. May they be protected from dangers. May they achieve their aspirations. May their mind be freed from hatred. May their heart be filled with love. May they be well and happy. And then when you've finished that, think of one neutral person, someone you come into contact with often, but towards whom you really don't have any feelings one way or the other. You haven't really got a relationship with them. Perhaps the man at the corner shop, or your neighbor, somebody at work. You see them often, but you're disengaged, you have no feelings towards them. Think of one such person and do the same thing. May they be well and happy, so on. And then think of someone you don't like. Just one such person. Now, if you're an ordinary person, you probably have one or two people who you strongly dislike, perhaps even hate. And then you have other people you just dislike them a bit. And then one or two others that just annoy you a bit. Don't think of somebody towards whom you have very strong negative feeling. Just think of somebody that you dislike. Think of that one person and do the same thing. May they be well and happy. May they be peaceful and calm, and so on. So myself, a loved one, a neutral one, a disliked one. And then finally, you can do two things. Perhaps one time you do it, you can do it this way. The next time you do it, you can do it that way. Finally, think of all the people you know. May they all be well and happy. Or try to imagine all the people in your area. May they all be well and happy. Perhaps all the people in my country. And then finally, everyone. May everyone be well and happy. Peaceful and calm, and so on. So that is one way you can do it. Or else another way you can finish is by thinking of one person that you know or know of, or who you have read about or heard about, who is suffering some tragedy. Perhaps you don't even know their name. Perhaps you saw a picture of them on the television. Grieving, frightened, at a loss. Picture that person in your mind. And bless them, wish them well also. May that person be well and happy. May they be peaceful and calm, and so on. So, you start with yourself, then with someone you love, then with someone you don't really know, then with somebody you do not like, and then finally either all people or perhaps one particular person who you know or know about who is experiencing suffering. And that is the end of the practice. How long do you do this for? 10 minutes. 12 minutes. How often do you do it? You can do it at any time. But the best time to do it is when you are feeling some positive feeling, when you have been uplifted, when you are feeling joy, particularly if the joy has arisen due to your meditation practice. But there may be other times when you feel joy too. You've been listening to some beautiful music. You've just read a poem that has uplifted you. Perhaps you're just sitting at home and you just feel very positive. Instead of just sitting there, enjoying it, utilize it. Manipulate it creatively by doing this practice, metta bhava. Now, some people think that this practice is superficial. It's just a feel-good practice. But I disagree with that. My personal experience and the experience of many others is that this can be really very transformational in the best sense. That it can untie any knots or negativities that you have towards yourself. It can make you more appreciative of those that you already love. It can help to establish and build a relationship with people that you've really never bothered about. And that is a good thing. And it can help to heal any rifts, emotional rifts, that you have with other people. And anybody who has done this practice will tell you that it can be very effective in this way. So although some people may do this in a superficial and sort of a sentimental way, there is no need for you to do it like that. If you do this properly, within the context of your general practice, very, very good for you. A very beautiful balance with mindfulness of breathing. Now, why is it structured in this way? because there is a very particular structure, and at least in the beginning, it's very good to follow this structure. Myself, a loved one, a neutral person, a disliked person, all persons. It often happens that for various reasons people have problems with themselves. They suffer from self-depreciation, sometimes even self-loathing. It may be their upbringing. It may be that they have done or they think they have done something very bad. It may be their religion has told them that they are unworthy, sinful. There can be very many reasons for it. Some people just feel bad about themselves and they don't know why. Whatever it is, this is very destructive. If you see yourself as your own enemy everywhere you go, you will feel negative. It's almost a cliche to say, but it isn't a cliche, that if you can't love yourself, if you can't be positive about yourself, it will be difficult for you to be positive about others. So, self-appreciation, what the Buddha calls attakama or attappiya, self-respect, being affectionate towards yourself, this is a very good thing. And Metta Bhavana helps to establish that. And that's why we start by doing it to ourselves. And then actually consciously thinking about the people that we love. It often happens that we do love these people, we do have this feeling towards them, but maybe it's been a long time since we've actually put words to those feelings. Often it's been a long time since we've actually expressed those feelings to that loved person. So, as it were, to be aware of and to remind ourselves of these feelings is, in a sense, to rejuvenate them. So, when we do this to a loved person, we remind ourselves of how important that person is to us. Then when we think of a neutral person, someone we neither like nor dislike, it's very important also. Because probably most people that we come into contact with fall into this category. The man who lives 3 houses down. Every now and then you see him and you say good morning, and that's it. No relationship. Now this doesn't mean that you have to have a relationship with absolutely everybody. But certainly broadening the scope of those that we care about is a good thing. And this practice helps us to do this. We no longer, or less and less, we simply take people for granted. We cease to see them as just objects or cardboard cutouts. We start to see them as they are, persons like ourselves. And when that happens, we're able to relate to them in some way or another more than we did before. And who knows, it may be that because we start to respond to them positively, they respond to us, and we have built a new relationship, a new friendship. And then finally we think about persons that we don't like. I found this meditation very useful. Because when I start to do it, I have to think, who is it that I don't like? Will I do number A or number B, or should I do number C? And this requires me to think about why I don't like that person. And normally, if you asked yourself or somebody asked you, why don't you like that person? You'll say, because they're not nice. But the reality is that some other people like them. Probably their family likes them, their friends like them. What is it about them that prevents me from liking them? And when you think about this, it can be quite a revelation. It may be that they are not nice in some ways, but that may be not the reason why I don't like them. It may be that they're better than me, they're more accomplished, they're more good looking, or whatever. The human mind is very complex, and this is a very good way to start to get little inklings about what's really going on in my heart and mind. And if it can be that annoyance or negativity or dislike or perhaps even hatred changes or is modified, this is good for me and it is good for others. Harboring resentments and hatreds in my heart, this is not good for me, it's not good for others. If for no other reason, for your own benefit, consciously and gently work on any negativities you have towards others. And then we said, finally, you can do one of two things. Either think of all persons, all beings, everybody. This can help to open up and broaden the scope of your positive feelings, your benediction. Or to think of one person that you know or know of who is suffering from some distress or pain, and this helps to add a dimension of sympathy to your positive feeling. It keeps it grounded in reality. And this is the reason why the Buddha taught Metta Bhavana. To engage the most positive of all feelings, love or loving kindness, in the process of meditation. So between now and next week, if during that time you notice that as a result of your meditation practice your mind has become calmly joyful, or if you get a sudden experience of joy, stop what you're doing, continue to sit in the same position, but now simply take your mindfulness from your breath, place it on the center of your heart, and then first of all think of yourself, bless yourself, wish yourself well. Think of a loved person, bless them, wish them well. Think of a neutral person, bless them, wish them well. Think of a disliked person, do the same. And then finally think of all persons, all beings, or one person, one being who you know or know of, who is in distress, and radiate your metta towards them. Next time we will talk a little bit more about Metta Bhavana and see what you have done in the previous week. Thank you and good evening.